if we wait for it to if we wait for it to load the assets some minutes, it like needs to cook the place. It needs to load it. I don't know, but well, the point is that we need to find more. We have to finish the storyline here in order to get access to the data. Okay, looks like I was right. You need to let it load, apparently. Load in all directions. Let me see. Let me see where we need to go. Okay, there are not many options. We were more or less over here. We have to go over here. There we go. There we go. It is through here. Needs to load the whole instance, I guess. There we go. I couldn't enter through here. Couldn't enter through here, so I need to get maybe inside of here. This guy. There's the objective. Can I talk to him? I'll have to dismount probably. There we go. Listening.
Next time that crook Gizmo darkens my doorstep, lock him in the chiller. She's dead is longer than a Wookiee's leg, and it's time to pay up.
Okay. So now what? Oh, we have to go to the other zone of the city, I guess. Well, city. It's like an outpost. You know why I use the Baractyl, people? Because the Dread Masters were trapped in Belsavis, pretty much. So it makes sense to think that they got a Baractyl to escape. But I like my Boranticus, my pale cave Boranticus more. Okay. Here we have to listen to something. The speeder shop.
It's a deal, he said. The investment opportunity of a lifetime, he said. Oh, I swear, Gizmo, when I get my hands on you and less.
That guy is cut in half. Oh, nice speeder shop. These are recycled assets, though. Okay, so where else do we have? Oh, we get out of the speeder shop through here, easy. We get out of the speeder shop, and we.
Yes, that's recently. Oh, he doesn't see it for weeks.
Recently, a pile of credit is not going to tell anyone where he was, especially if I told him if someone comes along with a better offer, I'm taking it. His hiding out. Seediest place on Ord Mountel. You better move fast. He's more slippery than a fleet eel.
Okay. So where do we go? Look for Gizmo Gam in the Legate Lounge. Okay. Seems easy. Seems easy enough. This place? This is the lounge entrance? That is Giselgam? No, can't be.
told you it wouldn't be ready until tomorrow, Noam. We talked about this, remember? These things take time. You gotta have patience and put some trust in old Gizmo. Oh, jeez. Oh, how did you find me? I mean, why would you want to find me? Who are you? Which tower sent you to do the dirty work? Don't listen to them, they're all talk. A few investments don't turn out the way they hoped, and they get all bent out of shape. You'd think I cost them their life savings or something. So, what can I do for you? Need something fast? Credits? Something to take the edge off? A hush-hush ride out of Kessan's Landing? Whatever you can dream of, I've got it all.
Nice corruption. Any information about the area? If enemy forces wanted to attack the area, what are the local high-value targets they'd most likely go after? Or any information about the area, you'll provide.
Absolutely. After one tiny little favor, of course.
Yeah, not
You
killing
scratch
you.
my back, I scratch yours, and all that.
No, you're a
The
corrupt
noisiest places
snake.
last on the Republic's list of priorities, but for some reason, a few of my most recent business enterprises caught the attention of SIS.
Oh, the
They've got
FBI.
agents following me around every corner.
The FBI is looking for him,
Stick
people.
around, but I gotta get out there among the people if you want information. You get those agents off my back, and I'll get you every last scrap of information you're looking for.
A person like this, I wouldn't trust him. So,
I understand, believe me, I do. But I hate to break it to you, I'm not only your best bet, I'm your only option. You see, being aligned with the Empire's interests and all, you're going to have a hard time finding anyone around here who will extend you a helping hand. Folks aren't quite as open-minded as I am. You get what you need from me.
because it's a Republic outpost.
Come on, it'll be easy. Someone like you could get this done in no time.
Well, at least we
I'm
agree
gonna
on that.
assume you've been to my office already. If you head back there, you can pick up a few toys to help you root out where those busybodies are hiding. Once you find them, make sure they can never bother me again. If you catch my meaning, signal me with this when the job's done, and I'll meet you at my office.
As long as there's no
Pleasure
stuttering.
business with you.
This corrupt filth is this corrupt filth is on the verge of dying. This corrupt filth is on the verge of dying. A gruesome death. He is on the verge of dying. This gruesome filth will definitely pay for that. Okay. Your office. Let's get to your office first. Where the other two guys were there. Fortunately, the stuttering is gone. It just needs to look up the assets, I think. Okay, so what the fuck does this need to do? Probably on the other floor. Second floor. There we go. Listening device. Plant the listening device. Okay. Okay, we have to plant them. Right, because it's a Republic outpost, people. Because it's a Republic outpost, people, so pretty much this guy is like a double agent. He's like a traitorous double agent. There we got one here. Instead of the cooling ventilation system, there we go. One down. Yes. One down. 3 to go. Inside of the cooling's ventilation system. Ah, another one in the. It's a communication system. So. Okay, they are using the sound from Empire Strikes Back from 30 years ago. Communication system access. There we go.
Throwing off the price for code and throwing you
Mhm.
separate.
Keep frames. What the fuck? Like this. What? It's smooth now. Huh? Here we go. Fourth one.
Going to recommend permanent surveillance. We leave this place too long without a
what?
babysitter, things will go sour fast.
Finally something to kill. A miracle. Okay. Oh, up there. Nothing like my Boranticus. Confront the mechanic. Oh, we're confronting a mechanic. This is interesting. Skipped frames. What?
Sorry, friend. We're about to lock up for the day.
First of all, this person needs to learn to speak properly. Skip frames. What the fuck's going on with this shit? I see it's smooth. No, it's quite smooth. There we go. It's quite smooth. I see the head of this guy moving perfectly at 60 frames. I don't need much of your time. I have a cargo transport outside that's low on hydraulic fluid. Simple fix for you, yes? And this false identity coward.
What are you talking about? Is there a problem? We honestly don't
I'm getting
know what's going
offended
on.
again.
You think we're SIS? Don't know what gave you that idea, friend, but we're just mechanics. Whoa, there's no need for all that. If you just, now!
Indeed. What now? Rendezvous with Gizmo. Okay. Where? Okay. Oh. Can you get out of here? Oh. You can get out of here in the middle of nowhere. Oh, it's got nice graphics, this sound. Okay, let me get through here. It's well decorated. It's well decorated. That's for sure. That's for sure. You got a nicely decorated colony here. Okay, so job's done. Job's done, and the guy should be able to reward us now. Right? Okay. We did your dirty job. Nah, Lord Krobos.
That's not necessary.
They applied black dice to the Imperial troopers.
What are you doing here, Krobos?
Funny. I was just wondering the same thing.
Your new friend was very concerned about your presence in Kessan's landing.
What? What are you talking about?
That's what I'd like to know.
There is a healthy dose of dissidence in this part of Old Mantel. A separatist movement that's been dormant for years is beginning to stir. This man supplies those separatists with rations, weapons, whatever they need. For his trouble, an anonymous benefactor pays him ostensibly large sums of credits.
That is an absurd and frankly a reprehensible accusation. I serve everyone.
to the absolute best of my ability.
Your benefactor works for me. The Empire has many vigilant servants in every corner of Ord Mantell. When you reached out to your contact, inquiring about the size of the ransom the Empire would pay for such an infamous visitor, word passed quickly to me.
That's not... You can't...
You little worm. I've killed for less than this.
I know. It was stupid.
How's it going, Patrick? How's it going?
You
Hope you
busted
had a
out my
great
door,
weekend,
started
Patrick.
sniffing around. I couldn't turn down such a well-timed opportunity.
If I'm perfectly honest, I appreciate the fact that you were so eager to take advantage of this situation. But I would hate for all that I've invested on Ord Mantell to go to waste due to one man's greed and stupidity. I have also received reports that the rift among the Mandalorians is spreading in a way that threatens the Empire's interests across the galaxy. I will not allow these hidden chain Mandalorians to disrupt what I have built here. Together, you and I will ensure they meet a swift end.
Paige, I think I did I reply to on the question. Oh, one second, it's this sheet of drop frames. I know, all right. How are you? I'm well. I'm well, Patrick. Did I reply to your second round of questions, or didn't I? Because I don't remember if I replied to it. Sorry, it's just that during the weekend I was busy. If I didn't reply, I will check after the stream over at Discord because I was busy doing some units of accountability for the candle management exam. So I was busy because the three first questions I replied them no problem. But then I don't know if then you replied with a video of me and where I told you I was part of Kotet was of that we discussed. But I think there was a fourth message with another question. I don't know if I ended up replying. If I didn't, I will go after finish it. In that sense.
I too enjoy the privileges of a Dark Council member. I do not need an escort to cling to my side.
Do not think I am here to oversee your every move. I am certain you always have the Empire's best interests at heart. I have a vested interest in the network of resources and information that has been established here. I will see to its preservation myself. With my help, we can put an end to this distraction quickly and return to our business, without destroying years of work. We will require assistance from local agents sympathetic to our interests.
Me? You want my help? I thought my part was finished.
Are you saying you are of no use to us?
You make a very convincing argument. And anyway, I reckon that Mandalorians running through the streets would put a damper on expanding my business prospects. Now that you mention it, I've got a separatist buyer who's been real pushy lately.
I've been good. I've been
More than
doing.
usual.
I've been starting
He's
doing
talking about
the
something
weekend.
big
Busy
they got
with.
in the works. Could be connected to this hidden chain you're all worried about. Could be coincidence? Only one way to find out.
What do you suggest?
I just dropped a weapons shipment for this buyer. I'll shoot her a quick holo call, tell her I forgot something. That'll buy us time before she makes the pickup. Meanwhile, you two go to the drop point, wait for her to show up, and find out if she's in with these Mandalorians. Piece of cake.
Except for one thing. How do you know she won't run when she sees us?
You see, my buyer and I always arrange handoffs in the geothermal station outside of town. There's an old ventilation shaft that'll get you in and out completely unnoticed. Use that for the old element of surprise, and she'll never see you coming.
This better not be some kind of trap.
I understand your suspicion, really. I do. But I know a good deal when it's in front of me. I'll keep my ear to the ground while you're gone, see if I can pick up anything else that'll get you ready for this attack.
Seems fair. Hopefully we run with the storyline of
Do not let
Kessan.
it out of your sight.
I'll just, do all my asking around from in here, I guess.
Enjoy the couch of the office. Yeah, I think you answered my question perfectly. Always. My last question about the cringe situations. Ah, yeah. I replied it. Yeah, now I remember. Now that you mentioned the topic, I remember. Yeah. About cringe situation or whatever was the most person. Yeah, I replied it. I replied it. Yeah, okay. I replied it. I replied it perfectly. Yeah. I did that. Yeah, good. I got another. Okay. No worries. I replied it. I was just watching the cutscene. Anyways, I was just watching the cutscene and seeing some stupid drop frames here. Perfect. No. Then I replied that last one. I remember replying that one. Okay. Good. Yeah. I replied. I'm back. Yeah, no, I replied the page one. Yeah. Whatever for me. Because I've been battling with that. Yeah, no. I replied that one. What? Drop frames again? What's the problem with this shit today? We are getting shit today? Drop frames? But it's getting drop frames. No, but it's a smooth. It's quite smooth. Okay, so it's maybe when I alt tab or something like that. Okay. Remember, people, we need to finish Kessan's landing to unlock the final data core. No, then I replied to that one. Yeah, I remember. I just did it by the end of the weekend, as I was telling you. I did it by the end of the weekend, and then I started doing. I started doing some accountability for my condo management exam. I'm almost done, so pretty much. I had forgotten if I had replied to every single question, but yeah. Good. So well, Patrick, I've been investigating the current state. As for the rest, which isn't studying, I've been playing a bit of Tetris on my consoles, taking a rest after I finish those exams, and then I could reply to you pretty much. What? Gas? What the fuck is this shit? You think you're gonna kill me? What the fuck? Gas? I didn't expect this shit, people. What the fuck was that? That wasn't a that definitely wasn't a mob. Why is it dropping frames? Do you want me to go back to what was it? To full screen? If you don't like full screen windowed, hopefully it doesn't explode. It doesn't like full screen windowed. I see. Doesn't like full screen windowed because it's dropping frames when I change that. There we go. How about now? Should be much better. I will leave my face walk there so I can teleport in case the fire insta kills me again. So, a troll quest. Nothing like a troll quest. So, in terms of games, I've been playing Tetris on my PS Vita. I always wanted to try out the PSP, the PlayStation Portable version of Tetris, which is quite good. I highly recommend it. I think the PSP version of Tetris and the Nintendo DS version of Tetris are the best that anyone can try out. Besides Tetris 99 on the Switch, now that it has an offline mode that it has been patched, and on PC, of course, Tetris Effect with all of the musical effects, all of the music effects. It's quite good. Okay, we're invisible. The gas. Maybe I just need to move over here. Ah, okay, so you just take cover over here when it's about to...
Gizmo, you failed to mention there were pockets of hot gas in this ventilation shaft.
Good point. What?
Sometimes
Okay.
someone switches the wrong lever or two, or three. There's a control terminal somewhere in there. Should be quick and easy to shut the gas.
Done. The gas is off.
This does not bode well for Gizmo.
Nice, I'm invisible,
If
people.
this meeting with Gizmo's contact does not produce the desired result.
There we go. So I've been trying those, and as for the rest, I am already investigating for a reverse engineered version of WildStar with the Nexus Forever mod, but I think that, well, mod with the work that they've done. But the thing is that still it doesn't have all of the quest branches active. That one will take sadly a lot of time. What a sad chapter of our industry, WildStar. What a great game. And the other one that I was looking at was a Darkspore, but sadly that one what? We're in combat? And what are we killing? This one. Sadly, in the case of Darkspore, you can only access the game's map, but you don't. But you still cannot do the quest, so not good at all. Pretty much. Those two still need more cooking by the developers to see if they can be reverse engineered and finally saved once and for all. There we go. Well, the drop frames have stopped, at least. Remember that I need to do Kessan's landing here to access the datacron. You need to do the storyline. Oh, purple. Oh, emergency blockade. That's a nice deco there. A reputation deco. Requires outsider standing with Kessan's landing's forces. Okay, so it's a daily area as well. So pretty much, I don't know why I'm invisible. People don't ask. It's just because I switched from full screen to from window to full screen mode, so it would stop dropping frames. So I don't know. Pretty much. So I need it for the datacron here because I'm still not at absolute max power. I'm almost at max power, but I'm not at max power. I'm still lacking 2 datacrons, out of which one is here, one is on this planet. So, and in order to access it, you have to pretty much do the story quest, basically. That's basically the idea. So pretty much, we have to do the story quests here, people. Here, so that's basically the idea. Pretty much what I did, Patrick. I basically tried out Tetris. I investigated into those after spending most of the time with the exams, and then I replied to you, of course, with all of your questions. I have to always thank you for all of the questions over at Discord, because it gives me an opportunity to make use of all of my knowledge that, as I told you, otherwise it would have been wasted completely to time, pretty much. So I always thank you for your questions about philosophy over at Discord. Pretty much, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot because it's what I tell you. Otherwise, all of my knowledge would have been like, it would be wasted. It would be wasted. Life experience, knowledge, all of those things. And well, at least like this, I make use of them and help anyone confront the burden of life as I can. How's it going, Flying Energy? Is nice, Pepe, and that's the slime from Dragon Quest, legendary series of games. Legendary series of games, the precursor of Pokemon Dragon Quest. But not only that, the slime there is the protagonist of its own series in a very obscure spin-off, that pretty much very few people know about. Very few people know about, which is the Rocket Slime Heroes series, which you have Rocket Slime 1 on the Game Boy Advance that was never translated. It's all in Japanese. Then you have the sequel on the Nintendo DS that yes was translated.
Okay.
And the third one, which is amazing, they are the Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past clones, like with an isometric perspective into the third one that very few people know about, which is Rocket Slime Heroes 3, which you require a modded 3DS to access the translation, because it requires it uses a technique of translation that is different than just replacing some files, in which you need to access the system NAND of the 3DS. It was a quite fascinating process, and you can like inject the translation of Rocket Slime 3, which it's amazing. It's a game that it's definitely worth the effort to get the translation for the 3DS, the English version of the DS, and the Japanese version for the Game Boy Advance. They need to translate the Rocket Slime Heroes 1 for the Game Boy Advance. That one is not translated, sadly. It's still trapped in the Japanese market.
I saved your life. Some gratitude would be appreciated.
Pretty much.
Sorry. I get a little forgetful about things like that when someone's trying to kidnap me.
Kidnap you?
Yeah, like what these lugs were doing, whoever they were. I was trying to find my sister. I haven't seen her in days. Mina works here, so I thought... I ran into them instead.
How fortunate for you that we arrived when we did.
I had it under control.
Definitely.
You did what you could.
I know I did. I got away from them for a minute before you showed up.
So as for the rest, I was commenting precisely Flying Energies, Patrick, that
Cooling rods.
there are already some initial versions of reverse engineered versions of WildStar that died long ago. But sadly, the quest branches are still not working. You know that I like playing the MMORPGs offline whenever possible, but sadly the quest branches are still not working. Not all of them working properly. Quite sad. I have a short text from Aristotle, which either evil, which is either evil, or I don't understand completely, or I misunderstood it. Sure, Patrick. Right, whichever it is. Flying Energies, in your case, I hope you find a new MMORPG to replace the one that closed, Ashes of Creation, the one that you showed me. It's absolutely sad, and if it ever gets reverse engineered, I can help you revive it, so you can play it on your own, even if the game dies. For how much time is my model going to be invisible? Ah, well, my lightsaber appeared at least. Well, here you can see how beautiful the model of my lightsaber is, in case you wanna know it, people. Is the Prophet lightsaber. The official one of the Dreadmasters. It's the Prophet's lightsaber. It cost me some tech fragments. I don't know. I still can't believe I paid tech fragments for that version of the lightsaber. You cannot buy it off the auction house. So yeah, hope I can reverse engineer all MMORPGs in history, and play them offline, of course. What? 12 seconds of overriding. Okay, now I read it, Patrick. Give me a second before the gas here kills my character in game.
We need to get the runoff channels open. We'll have to do it
That's a lot of gas, people. I would start getting nervous.
Are you sure?
No, but it's our best shot.
70% over capacity. If I didn't hear from you soon, I would have opened the spillway.
That's a lot of gas, people. That's a lot of fucking gas. The fact that my model is invisible just because I switched from window to full screen is absolutely miserable.
90% over capacity.
Yes, I know we're all about to die. You made it quite clear, Krobos. Let's go. We're on max power. Look at all of those boosts of damage. Oh, another decoration. Oh, I'm being quite lucky today. 2 legendary decorations over here at Kessan's Landing. Remember, we need to do the storyline so I unlock the data chrono. So our work here is not done. Now I read them, Patrick, and we interpret them together.
Kronos, open the spillway now.
Yes, get the gas out of here, please. Once and for all. Magma. I feel like Metroid. Oh, the other way, the other day, I was playing
Everything seems to be returning to normal. I don't see any other alerts.
Metroid.
Good. Keep watching. If anything changes, let me know.
Metroid 4 on the
I'm
Nintendo
going
Switch
to
2.
find out where the rest of the human chain went.
Looks amazing.
Understood.
Amazing. Quite good.
We're in the clear for now, but long term, those cooling rods have got to go back where they belong.
The people who took the cooling rods. Do you know where they might have gone?
Well, there's no place for shuttles to take off from here, and they couldn't have moved them all on foot.
Now I read them, Patrick, yeah? Now I read them. And we interpret them together. Give me a second so I...
I know you don't either.
Okay, so Aristotle argues that there are natural slaves, humans who are born to be ruled by others. And the page there you have of his work that when he teaches to his apprentice, probably, which is his most famous book. This can be seen by analogy. The body is the natural slave of the psyche, such that a good person exerts a despotic rule over his body. In the same way, humans ought to rule over other animals, males over females and masters over slaves. Okay, understand the context of Aristotle, Patrick. We cannot divide it from the context. In the context of Aristotle, which was in ancient Greece, slaves were considered things, property, just like animals for the law even nowadays are considered things. That's why it was needed, because otherwise imagine if we assign to animals the same rights as humans. You see why it was needed. Then of course it was tempered when in Rome this was changed, that slaves wouldn't be property but would still be people. But this is only natural when the ruling part is more noble than the part that is ruled. Thus the enslavement of the children of conquered nobles by victors in a war is a mere convention, since the children may possess the nature of free people. For Aristotle, then, slavery is natural and just only when it is in the interest of the slave and master alike. Patrick, you need to consider the context, because otherwise we are doing the same. It's not that Aristotle is evil, or that he or that he was a despot or whatever. You need to understand the context of his era. In his era, for the Roman law afterwards, and for the Greek law even worse, the citizens of the Poly, which was a city-state of Greece, like Athens, etc., those were like free citizens. Those were people. The slaves were property. They were objects. So, in that conception, in that cultural conception, in the context of the time, believe it or not, for us now it may sound ridiculous, but for that context, it was a quite civilized approach. It was quite progressive. This, which you just described in those two texts, was quite progressive back in the day. That's the problem with people who judge the past, like the wokes, with the eyes of the present. All of that you described, all of that right there is brutally progressive, brutally liberal for that time. Because what happened outside of Greece for all of those cases? The slaves were just enslaved, no rights before, besides eating an apple, and abused in every way possible and killed. Okay? Here, at least, he does an analysis further beyond of the fact that the masters had access to superior ways of education and could teach the slaves or whatever, not teach like their children, but at least keep them in their houses. And for that context, a Greek slave had a much better life than an Assyrian slave, a Carthaginian slave, everything outside of Greece. You cannot lose perspective of the context, of the historical context in which he said that. And the last part is the most incredible, in fact, that the children of the slave may possess the nature of free people. Okay? That phrase, that last phrase by the end, is like so advanced for its time, so advanced, like even today it doesn't happen. So imagine, for that time it was absolutely advanced. So yeah, the Greek slaves had much better lives than any other slaves outside of Greece, because outside of Greece the only thing that existed until Rome was savagery, was just killing each other like fucking gorillas and animals. No laws, no rules, no nothing. Then, as Rome inherited the spirit of Greece, progressively it gave the slaves, even if they were still property, not people, progressively more.
Let's just get this over with.
They could stop being slaves. They gave them the possibility of becoming free citizens. And that's how slowly we stopped being savage animals. And the last phrase that you said is, as I told you, a sine qua non condition, a required precondition, for then in Rome to happen the fact that slaves in Rome, even if they were property, they could, in some rare cases, become free citizens of Rome. Okay? Okay, so it's pretty much that.
I don't even want to think about what will happen if we don't get any of those cool.
It will be interesting that I'm doing this part of the gameplay with my character model invisible, people. 100% but well.
But we can find out where they went. Come on.
So basically that, especially the last phrase. Victor's in convention since the children may possess the natures of free people. There you see the compassion and the
This data is a mess.
and
Trams
the
were heading toward a supply depot.
and the great advancement
I know it.
that he brought.
It's a good
It's
place
not
to
that
maybe
he's
start
evil.
looking. I'll
It's
show
not
you
that
where it
he's
is.
evil. You have to
The
interpret
faster we get this
the
done,
past
faster I
with
can
the
get
eyes
back
of
to
the
looking for
past,
my
not with
sister.
the eyes of the present.
Are you there? Here, and waiting for an update. We might know where to find the cooling rods. Fort Ronick. If the separatists let the hidden chain in there,
More or less, I think I explained it.
I need a way in that won't raise their alarms. Contact Gizmo. Lean on him.
The part of a good person exerting a despotic rule over his body,
We should take his advice.
the body is a natural slave of the sick, is absolutely true. Absolutely true. he didn't know about neural connections of the brain and etc. In such an early time, it's a quite accurate analysis of society, if you think about it, Patrick. It's a quite accurate analysis of society.
He mentioned a collapse in the tram tunnels. Apparently it was caused by seismic
It's a
activity
quite
in the
accurate analysis of society and human beings.
We can try. There are maintenance hatches that can get us into the tram system. Let's see if we find any smashed up separatists.
I'll remain invisible for the rest of the gameplay, right? Yeah. I just hope I'm not invisible to other players because they'll start freaking out. Probably, but well, doesn't matter. Who cares? But pretty much interpret it like that. You cannot judge the past with the eyes of the present, in case that was the reason you perceived it as evil. It's not evil. It's a quite compassionate view for the relative time in which he had those thoughts, pretty much. So yes, do not think that, oh, we are finally getting out of the encampment, of the outpost. Oh, we got some resources there, some biochem resources. I'll be invisible for the rest of the gameplay, I see, or at least until maybe if I go to my stronghold and come back. I could try doing that. I could try going back to my stronghold and come back. Oh, another decoration. I'm being quite lucky today. Let me go back to my stronghold and come back, see if the character asset reloads, because it feels weird playing with my character being invisible. So yeah, pretty much. Is that more or less? It's like that, Patrick. Pretty much. I think I explained it very well. Natural slaves, humans were born to be ruled by others, is what he could observe, pretty much, in social interactions, Patrick. But for example, think of it like this. There's not much difference between that observation that he did more than 2,000 years ago, please consider that, with, for example, your gorilla mates at school hitting each other, like when you said that N, I think, was gorilla N. The gorilla N was the dominant one in a relationship with his other friend, gorilla. Aristotle saw that, probably, not probably, for sure, between the people of Greece, and was trying to rationalize that. So pretty much was that. In a modern context, would be that psychological relationship that you were mentioning. But consider that Aristotle could reach these conclusions 2,000 years ago, and your gorilla mates at school are replicating it, what he observed 2,000 years after. So I would say he wasn't evil observing that. It was the context of his time, and they were pretty accurate observations in comparison. And what I told you, the key point there is that the last phrase, that children may possess the nature, slave children may possess the natures of free people, it's already a huge advancement for the time, that then allowed Rome, in very special cases, to proclaim an edict, for example, that would free the slave. I think if the slave joined the army and things like that, or would save the life of his master, I think were the cases when I studied Roman law. Pretty much in those cases, the slave would cease to be a thing and would get Roman citizenship, and all of those things are owned to Aristotle because pretty much Rome taught there we go, it worked. There we go, it worked. Problem is that now I have to go back to Kessan's land. So let's go back to my spaceship, if you don't mind, people. So pretty much is that when Rome invaded then Greece, they took all of the wisest teachers to teach Roman children. So those teachings of Aristotle are the ones that ended up causing the slaves to be free. Then, afterwards. And then consider this, slavery lasted up until the last century. Then we are fucked. Travel now? I know, it's because I'm already there. It's because I'm already there, I just have to disembark. Good. So, basically that, Patrick. Consider that slavery lasted up until, traditionally, up until the last century in most countries, pretty much. Last 100 years, and Aristotle was already recognizing that the children may possess the natures of free people. So yeah, see if he was advanced for his time. See if he was advanced in that sense. We cannot judge the past with the eyes of the present. Pretty much. Did I clarify it, Patrick? Were you listening to me? Did you get any ads? I don't know. You tell me. Does it make sense? Pretty much. Good. I recovered my textures. Nice. My character model. So pretty much that is what how I would interpret those. It's the same like when the wokes say that in the 90s. Well, we shouldn't call them wokes, you know, people. We should call them by what they are, but sadly I cannot say the word on Twitch, coincidence, which is a word that starts with T. Why? Because T's, let's just say, are the ones that do pre-revolutionary maneuvers. I need to call them somehow pre-revolutionary perpetrators, like that, so I don't use the T word that precisely Phantom told me that I cannot use here on Twitch or YouTube. They are T's and communists, pretty much. Not much else. Well, communists. Low quality communists, because they also wouldn't grab a rifle like any Soviet worker, proletariat, whatever the fuck. That's also true. They would cheat on themselves, grabbing a rifle and going to a war, as they say that they are Therians, and start acting like a cat or a dog in public and doing stupidity. No, it's true. It's a lack of respect. What we have nowadays for communists, it's a lack of respect for communists of the last century, in that sense, that at least grabbed a rifle and went to World War II. It's true. It's true that there has been a degradation also regarding the quality of shitty communists that want to ruin our world. Yeah, it was perfect. Your lawyer side of your brain helped you with this answer, Kendall. Aristotle is not guilty. No. Your lawyer side of your brain. You are not the person. You are not the first person who points out that I have that my lawyer brain shows itself, even if I didn't work as lawyer. You know, thank you, Patrick. It is reality, pretty much. you know that laws, when we pass a bill over at a Congress to precisely change a law, generally they don't act backwards. You cannot make them act backwards. They can only affect like all human relationships, like from the point it starts, it comes into effect onwards, but not backwards, because otherwise it, it violates the principle of it violates the principle of the law affecting uh, relationships from that point onwards, of not judging the past with the eyes of the present. Pretty much. No, what you say? It was perfect. Yeah, it was perfect. Your lawyer side of your brain with this stuff. No, pretty much. Pretty much. They were property. They were property back then. So it was a huge improvement. What you are mentioning. In comparison to what ruled over those times. No, he's not guilty, of course, he's not guilty. He was quite advanced. Think of it like this, as I told you, if your gorilla friends are behaving like the people Aristotle was analyzing 2000 years ago, uh, locate the crashed tram.
The crash knocked out the power to the whole tram. How do we get this door open?
Hold on a second.
I'm holding on for a second. So it's like that. Imagine if he's analyzing, find a way to restore the power. Okay, no. She says hold on a second, but we have to do it.
There's a conch droid. Hook the little guy up to the door panel. He'll have enough juice to get us into the tram.
Okay. Follow the gong droid. Oof, he's brutally slow. Can I pull him? Can I pull him? No, I cannot pull him. Okay, let's just walk with him then. Okay. Hey, Barat. Womp. No, don't tell me I got Womp fever. This has to be a joke. What's the probability? No, my fucking god. No, my fucking god. What's the probability of getting Womp fever? I got this 15 years ago. No, fuck.
It's painfully slow.
Fuck.
Give it a second.
Fuck, this has to be a joke. Womp fever.
It'll get the
It's...
job done.
Fuck, we are infected. I'll need to buy vaccines. Health regeneration reduced by 50%. Fatal if untreated. Yeah, I know it kills you. And an often fatal infection of the skin propagated by the bite of womp rats. What is the probability? I remember I got this shit back when I played this thing. It's like vampirism in Skyrim. Shit. Fuck.
What is all this? What were they doing?
They were beaten by the rats, let me guess.
Mina! Mina!
Womp rat fever, people. Fatal if untreated, as you could see. I'm beginning to think this one was rigged. What is the difference between... Oh.
Don't! It's fine.
What is the difference between Russia attacking Ukraine and the US attacking every country? I mean, I don't know if the US attacks... They are going to attack Iran. I heard they have already developed a car. What do you mean a car? What do you mean a car? They have the naval fleet in the Strait of Hormuz. Oh.
That's what I get for hoping, I guess.
Pretty much.
Or should be worlds away by now.
What is the difference?
We need to
Great
finish
question.
this.
What is the difference?
The
Because
chain
I
still
get
has a lot to answer for.
it's the very question of our time, probably.
Aren't you here to stop them? Isn't that why I'm helping you? As long as we do that, what difference does it make how I feel?
Hang on,
Have you made
I'm
any
checking how
progress in retrieving the cooling rods?
Of course, that's all she cares about. I doubt you imps care, but these are my neighbors. My family. I'm not interested in looking for anything else but them.
Okay, how do we
The
proceed?
situation is not ideal, of course, but I hope you remember where your loyalties lie. If we retrieve those cooling rods, keep them out of the Republic's hands, we turn an increasingly discontented populace against them. And if the Empire returns the rods, if we save this little backwater settlement, imagine what they'll offer in gratitude.
Now I replayed picture. Don't worry, I already have the answer. I remember what's the
Then it's good to know we understand each other's perspective. This Mandalorian nonsense will end eventually, and there is still a war to win. Kroger's out.
Very well. Iran almost replaced horses and carriages with, with cars, and they'll get it.
Fort Ronick isn't far from here. I bet a month's wages they just walked
Okay,
the rest of
so
the way.
what is the... Can you shut up so I can reply to this very important question for a second?
Let's go find them.
Yes, let's do that. Finally. Good. Huh? And another decoration I see there. I skipped it. We need to get a vaccine, people. Thank you. This is going to kill me if I don't find the vaccine. I wonder when. Okay. We'll deal with that later. Question. What is the difference between Russia attacking Ukraine and the United States attacking every country right now? I mean, I don't know if the United States is going to attack Iran or attack Iran. I heard they have almost developed a car, KW, and when I said that, you said it.
I know the answer she's talking about. Come on.
Drop frames. Fuck. Stop bothering with the dialogues. Iran almost, and when I said Iran almost replaced horses and carriages with cars, and they'll get a bomb. Yeah, pretty much. Well, I'll go in order. What is the difference? What is the difference? The difference is quite easy. That 95% of inventions of humanity, this is an objective fact, have been developed by, and this is a hard truth, but it's a reality, 95, let's repeat all together, people over at YouTube, those who are going to have a heart attack by now, 95% of inventions of humanity have been developed by white European descended men. I know it's something brutal to say nowadays, something which should have been which was evident to everyone in for 2,000 years. So let us do a bit of a backwards remembrance. So the United States, with Benjamin Franklin, discovered electricity for us all. Okay. Discovered nothing. Something that we don't use in our day-to-day, even those criminal states that you are mentioning, Patrick. Something that no one uses, no one benefited from, clearly. So, this harsh truth, let us repeat it again, 95% of all inventions of humanity that pushed us to have a better quality of life as species were developed by white European descended men, either in Europe or the Americas, pretty much. Not China, not the East, not a lot of other countries, no. And it's not a coincidence. Let us ask ourselves then, why? Because it's not a it cannot be a coincidence. If I'm telling 95%, it cannot be a coincidence. Why is it that this happened? Well, because precisely Western Roman Catholic culture of the Roman Empire favored the psychological conditions for all of our civilizations going in order, going in order, going in order. The spirit of Greece, inherited by Rome, then passed to the Holy Germanic Empire. Before, for those of you who are illiterate over and are watching this over at YouTube, when I say Holy German Empire, it's before Kant and before, of course, the Mustache Man. I'm talking about 1500s, not 1900s. When I say Holy Germanic Empire, not Third Reich, pretty much those things. Then the British, and nowadays the United States. What this question could easily be: why is it that why is it that you'd say that the British aren't or weren't evil, attacking all of our countries throughout history, pretty much in the Americas? Argentina was attacked by the British, of course Ireland, India, the very same United States. A third of the world was attacked by the British, even more, and conquered a third of it at least. Okay, it would be the same question. And nowadays you could say it about the United States as you could have said it about my Roman Italian ancestors in the past. Why is it that those superpowers civilizing the rest of the planet is different than Russia attacking Ukraine? Okay, the problem there is that all of those countries that I mentioned that are like the inheritors of Roman Christianity brought civilization to all of those countries. Thomas Aquinas has a concept of just war. Side question: and when they hear this fact, why mostly what Americans argue against the fact? Which fact? The fact that 95% of inventions of humanity were created by white European descended, either European or American men. That's the fact that they argue against it. Yeah, well, I'll get in order. Well, a side question to satiate it. Sadly, the reply is Obama in that case. Nobody would have thought otherwise before Obama. Before the 2010s, really, everyone would have agreed with me. Believe it or not, Patrick, everyone would have agreed with me at this point. Everyone would have agreed with this statement before Obama. So it's something temporary that will go away, fortunately. So yeah, before Obama, no, they would have never argued. No one in all of the planet would have ever argued before Obama about this simple, easy to understand statement that everyone could verify. So, what is the difference between all of those, between an invasion by the US of the East and Russia attacking Ukraine? The difference is...
They've got the cooling rods!
Yeah, I know, they got the cooling rods. The difference, because it is an important question. Or why is it different when the British invaded all of the world, or Rome conquered all of the world? The difference is that the culture derived from Roman Christianity and Protestantism as a variation, the culture derived from Roman Christianity and Protestantism as a variation brings civilization. Why? Why? because it's thanks to that culture that encourages innovation, that encourages a lot of positive traits like compassion and and the concept of greater good and the concept of uh, patience and temperance and all of the virtues. It's a much more balanced. It's a much more balanced synthesis of human feelings when they leave a state of nature that we were originally in as beasts killing each other. So they bring civilization. For example, you were talking about slavery and etc. and all of those things. Let us ask ourselves what was the situation outside of the slavery of Greece, as I told you, derived from civilization and all of that. The situation was state of nature. Basically beasts killing each other outside of it, which is how this Russia behaved with Ukraine. Like a beast, pretty much. The United States, right now, just like the British were, just like the Holy Germanic Empire was, previous to the prostitution of Immanuel Kant, the Prussian Empire, and then the mustache man from Germany, also Napoleon, before all of those, uh, just like Rome was and just like Greece was, it's the inheritor of the collective West of our times, the United States. That's why it should be a leader, because it's the biggest army.
Scum! You're going to get us all killed!
That also
Unbelievable.
inherits.
Nothing to say for yourself!
Isn't your job to stop those Mandalorians? She helped them!
Destroying these? Killing you? I will have served the cause well.
Where are the people you took?
They're coming. Get the assets off-world!
Is that a bomb?
We need to get out of here!
There's no time! You heard her! They could be taking off right now! Fine, but hurry!
Stupid drop frames. What's going on today that is dropping frames? Let me check out the stream. Dropping frames. What the fuck? I don't know what's wrong with you today. With the drop frames. What is it? But well, it's a very interesting question. So the United States is the inheritor of all of the collective legacy of the West right now, and the main defender. That's why it's different. Thomas Aquinas, I can go one step further, and Patrick, and tell you that Thomas Aquinas established conditions for something called a just war. In that sense, so it was in the context of the Crusades, and we have the very same context nowadays. So back then, Thomas Aquinas saw how the Crusades had invaded all of Europe. They had invaded all of Europe. Imagine that there were two choke points. They were two choke points. The western one was Spain. Basically, the Moors are basically the Arabian kingdoms. Were getting through Spain. They got up to half of Spain for a lot of time. And the Eastern Front was precisely the Eastern Roman Empire, which is now the zone of Turkey. So through those two choke points, they were trying to get into Europe. Nowadays we have the same situation, being invaded from within with the migration policies. In case you don't know, by 2050 it is projected that there will be a majority of Islamic population in Europe. So, considering those numbers that the United States already has, we've reached the point in which it is the time to stop it. Pretty much. And what you are seeing is pretty much that. It's pretty much that. Thomas Aquinas back in the 1200s, established the conditions for a just war, which are the same as today for the Crusades.
My sister could still be here, and we're not leaving it until I see for myself.
So replicating them, as it's the same situation 800 years afterward, after the Crusades, we have all of Europe being invaded, with Western culture being destroyed from within, thanks to Obama and Merkel. First condition that Thomas Aquinas mentioned for a just war. That's the difference. The United States wages just wars in which the outcome, and this is the second condition, needs to be better than the previous condition of the initial conflict. I know that it's a bit of abstract to understand, but let us repeat it, people. A just war demands that the resulting condition is for the population is better than the previous situation to the initiation of the conflict, okay? So that's why the United States is waging a just war to preserve Europe and Western culture. Instead, Russia. Is Russia, the Putinist regime that Pillow complains about every day, justifiably, pretty much, is it living in a better condition in Ukraine after attacking? No. Let's see the United States. Do you know that when the United States left Afghanistan, the people at the airport were trying to cling to the tires of the last plane that was coming back to the United States? Doesn't that show you something, people? The ones over at YouTube that's been insulting me right now for saying that the United States wages a just war as the inheritor of Western culture, as a shield for all of us. Doesn't it draw your attention at least that people from Cuba, from all of Central America, take boats that could kill them with sharks in the middle of the Caribbean to reach the United States and not the other way around? Why is it that objectively, in reality, people go from all of those war-ravaged countries, or with socialist dictators like in Cuba or Venezuela or etc., they massively migrate to the United States and not the other way around? Why is it that the influx of migrants is from one direction to the other? This is an objective fact, which is related to all of the things that I mentioned about the just war. Why is it? Because the United States, as the shield of the West, inheritor of Rome, the British Empire, the Holy Germanic Empire, and etc., it's once again leading a crusade against, with a just war, against, once again, the endless invasions of the Moors, in this case of Europe. Okay? So it's precisely because anyone who studied history will see this as a perfectly clear situation that repeats itself. So, Thomas Aquinas, in the 1200s, as he saw all of Europe being... do you know what happened? You know what happened? As Europe was being invaded by the Moors all over the place, with the Eastern Front and the Western Front that I'm mentioning. Britain, listen to the countries. Britain, France, Germany, the current territory of Germany was Prussia, Austria. Well, they weren't Prussia and Austria still. The Teutonic Knights, let's say. Germanics, Romans, Italians. We, all of us, had to unite. We all had to unite for 8 crusades. I think there were 8 total in the end. For 8 crusades to drive them back up to Turkey and get them out of Spain. So, imagine what would have happened with the equivalent that some of the woker European leaders are suggesting right now. Imagine if back in those medieval times, for example, let's assume the United States didn't exist. So let's assume Spain, which was the most staunchly against them, was left alone with France and England and the Germanic kingdoms saying, "Oh no, we are being racist." Can you imagine that situation, people? I can tell you the outcome, which would have been easy.
Let go of me!
All of Spain would have been taken, which was the last bastion, and after that they would have started entering through France and Germany, and they would have taken all of Europe. As pretty much it will end up being by 2050 if they are not stopped. So it's a real, tangible threat. It's a real, tangible threat that is repeating itself after 800 years. Okay? So, right now, we don't have...
She was right there. I told you we were running out of time to find her. We could have... I could have...
We don't have strong medieval European kingdoms. We instead have the United States, sharing the whole burden on its shoulders as its allies, all of us in Europe, let's say. I am in the Americas and I support them, but I'm Italian and sadly our parliament is voting against them as well. The EU parliament, as all of them don't support it. Imagine such situation. More Mandalorians, good. Imagine such situation. So, the difference is that the United States is waging a just war, leaving a better situation in all of those places after attacking, pretty much. That is the big difference. Instead, Russia is just destroying Ukraine, leaving a worse situation. The United States put the Plan Marshall in order after World War II, build Europe, helps all countries every single month with the money that it gives to the European Union, and the European Union is using it to give that money to killers and the enemies of the United States. Imagine being given money by your ally and then give it to your enemy and then expect nothing will happen. What if Trump runs out of time? I think he will choose I wouldn't worry, Patrick, because as long as the voting in the United States keeps favoring common sense and united against this threat that has been spotted finally. That was a problem, that it has been spotted. Either Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance will take...
The field marshal is...
either of them will succeed him, and I hope it's Marco Rubio. Why? I hope it's Marco Rubio. Why? Who is making most of the decisions that you see nowadays. regarding the foreign affairs with Maduro and etc. It's information that we know from here nowadays. I hope it's Marco Rubio because he was Cuban. I don't know if people know this. Not him. His parents were Cuban, basically, and he knows the horror of a communist regime firsthand. So see that you cannot tell him, precisely like most of us here in South America that suffered that during the Cold War, what it is to suffer a communist regime like that. So this guy is not taking damage.
My blade is howling for your blood.
He shouts a lot.
I will delight in your death.
He's not taking damage. What's this? Mechanic? Here? I need to bring him here.
My blade is howling for your blood.
By conventional means. And how is he damaged? Oh, it looks like a set amount. It looks like I have to bring him here. We have to wait for him to come here, people. Over here, please. Let me get rid of the...
I will delight in your death.
See, he takes 20% per each tank that he blows up. Here, please, next tank. He's definitely not taking... Okay, finally. Keep exploding the tanks. Keep blowing up the tanks. What? Ah, the lightsaber is also purple like mine.
You made the biggest mistake of your life, ROAD. Field Marshal Cole will have your pretty head for this.
I'm not afraid of Hedda.
No? What about everyone else? What do you think will happen when
Now
you don't have her favor anymore?
I don't care.
Your brother won't protect you.
Shut up!
Hell, Rakan would give anything for the honor of killing you, traitor.
I've got enough of this. Let us kill him. Got enough of mechanics, people, of exploding those of blowing up those tanks. Let's go. And I am the 7th Dread Master of Prophecy of the Fight. You would do well in remembering my name. Look at all of those dots. So fast. I love my dots, people. Well, that's one less problem for us to deal with. Okay, before I proceed, the question. We continue the chat. So, basically that. The concept of a just war could be easily applied to the current situation of the United States as all of the responsibility of stopping the Islamic regimes is on their shoulders, because Europe is for now not, we are not me from the Americas, but so same. We are not, our governments aren't supporting it. Very few cases. So pretty much in that sense. That's what I would say first. Then I don't know if the US is going to attack Iran. They are going. It's either Cuba or Iran. And if Trump eventually can do it in his time, I think it will be Marco Rubio by now, the successor. And he suffered the Cuban regime, so he knows perfectly how they act. So I don't worry about that regarding that. What if Trump runs out of time? I would say it's Marco Rubio. As you mentioned, Obama was a Chinese spy. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Merkel and Ursula von der Leyen, as well for us in European affairs. Yes, I assume he has a lot of money already. What could China possibly give that man to destroy America? To Obama? To Obama, he can. The damage has already been done. All the damage he could do has already been done by telling American children to hate their parents.
You're obviously here for a reason. Let's hear it.
Yes, let's uncover finally. Hey, finally we can talk about the artifact and everything.
What's going on? You're not working with the hidden chain anymore.
Not exactly. Hedda's opened the holocron that I took from Elon. She found plans on it for a machine. Her followers are collecting what she needs to build it. I tried to tell Hedda I won't help her do this. But you don't say no to Hedda. You don't walk away. I don't know if I want to walk away. I've been doing what I can to sabotage them, but trying not to get caught makes it impossible to do anything. I need help. Real help.
Finally.
If what you're saying is true, how have you gotten away with as much as you have?
Luck? Too much trust on their part? Whatever it is, I think I'm running out of it. Things are getting much worse.
That's one less hand.
I did.
I had enough of this troll. I didn't mean that, but still, we need to get rid of him. Of this cruel scam that has been attacking the galaxy constantly. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Yes, we did have to, because these are criminals. And being lenient with criminals is being evil with good people.
I need to cover my tracks.
Basically, what you were mentioning about Obama.
I do want your help, but I'm getting that holocron away from Hedda, whether or not you agree to it.
She can't be allowed to keep it. I'll do what you need me to.
Thank you. When I'm ready to move.
As you mentioned, Momo was a Chinese spy, basically. I assume he has a lot of money already.
Your friend is gone.
Give a man to destroy America. He already did it. It's what we lived through in the last decade, Patriot. All of the damage he could do, all of the damage that Obama could do to the great population of the United States has already been done. He already got his money, he's already in retirement, let's say. All of the damage that he could do, he already did it. By what? How? By corrupting the educational system and telling children, American children, that their parents were stupid, that their fathers oppressed their mothers, by telling them that their parents were stupid, basically that they're especially the attack was especially against women, because what did he do? Obama told people in his in a subconscious way, let's say, told little children that their mothers were stupid because they were oppressed by their fathers, basically. And that all men, we were oppressors and cruel and etc. And that simply wasn't the reality. It is not the reality. And creating that image in the mind of a lot of people massively, that was the damage that he did. Creating a chain of hatred that then spread to other countries, with Merkel also helping, and it's all of these liberal policies that we had in the last 10 years. That's the damage he did, that he got a nice amount of money from China, I bet.
Word's
If I had
already
to
getting around
guess.
about the separatists opening our door for the Mandalorians. They want to know how things got this far. They want someone to blame and someone to
Think of it like this,
this.
Patrick.
Why are you telling me?
Always ask yourself,
I don't know. Maybe I'm tired of everyone ignoring people like my sister. Maybe I think getting help from someone like you is the only way to change things.
think of this, Patrick, always ask yourself,
They sure as hell don't do it for us.
in what conditions is it easier to control and manipulate the population? And there you will have the answer. What's easier to control? Patrick, ask yourself, for Obama back in the day when he did it. Population that is full of junkies, dragged people who think consuming marijuana or whatever drug it may be, getting drunk, full of drug cartel like tattoos and etc. What population is it easier to control? Population that is full, surrounded by drugs, women hating men, okay? Women hating men, with the possibility of sending them to jail for absolutely unjustified reasons, like feeling in their perception in a lot of cases that, for example, their husband is an oppressor. I think my husband is oppressing me. Send him to jail with false claims, and the judge will trust the false claim. Imagine this description. What's easier to control? So the population is full of candy, full of drugs, surrounded by drugs, with the front left lobe of their brains full of smoke, without being able to think clearly. Men separated from women, so no family as the core unit of society, with everyone hating each other. Third condition, the educational system does not favor meritocracy but diversity, encouraging rainbow flag monstrosities to tell the population that it's okay for a man to be a woman and a woman to be a man, so there's no reproduction whatsoever. Okay, so no perspective of that. Then economic crash. People, not only they won't have a family, not only that, but also they won't have money. Okay, so because we all know that pretty much how difficult life conditions are nowadays, as they raise the taxes, as they help. They use in the taxes, Obama uses taxes to help with social assistance. Okay, so no meritocracy as well in schools, everyone collectively becomes dumb. Let's compare all of this situation with what we had in the 90s. In the 90s, women were mature and understood that committing and having more confidence in their husbands and their loved ones and their families wasn't being oppressed. It was precisely committing to people who loved them, and even a lot of them gave their lives for them as they went to World War II and etc. So we had family. Children at school were encouraged to pursue perfection through meritocracy, not diversity, precisely. It didn't matter
I hope you aren't too disappointed by Gizmo's
Better economic conditions. One salary could sustain a whole house of 4. The dream of the man, the woman, and 2 children and their house. Pretty much. That was also.
He'll make sure everyone remembers that this happened on the Republic's watch. The cooling rods you recovered are being collected as we speak.
So, we got that.
Contact production and logistics. Despite the spare's recent leadership crisis, I'm certain they will find use for the majority of them. We will return a small portion of the cooling rods to Kessan's Landing. A show of such generosity will push them to further resent the Republic's negligence.
An excellent plan. It won't be long before the Empire's influence here can be spread openly.
So, compare the 2 conditions and ask yourself, which one, in which of the 2 is it easier to control people, to manipulate them? In the situation that Obama left. There it is. He already did the damage. He already did the damage. The thing is that we are reaching the end of that damage, and we are seeing the beginning of the healing process. Sadly, it's the beginning of the healing process, and who knows how many years we'll need for it to heal on a much better proportion. We are at the beginning of the healing process. After 2020, I would say it's starting. I would say. So basically that. The damage is already done. He cannot do any further damage.
We encountered several missteps because of your suggestions. I think your continued service to the Empire will be an excellent way to make amends.
That's not such a good idea. I had Republic heat on me before you showed up, and it'll only get worse from here. What about weapons? Medical supplies. Separatists aren't going to be in the market for that stuff right now. They've got to focus on their numbers. Would that make up for everything?
I believe he's suffered enough, Crows, and the resources he offers will be useful.
Do not think you can avoid my request, Gizmo. I refuse to forfeit long-term success for a short-term gain.
Sure. I can respect that. From one business-minded individual to another. I'll just, see if I can start putting together a little care package for you with all that stuff I mentioned. Complimentary, of course.
There's something else we should discuss. Someone unexpected has offered to help me put an end to Tentacle's rebellion.
So basically that Patriot is it's all I can see so far.
It must be a ruse, an obvious attempt at lowering your defenses. Although it is unexpectedly slow-witted of the hidden chain to send a Jedi to try and earn your confidence. Accepting her help would be a foolish decision on your part, one that would make me sincerely question your judgments.
She's weak. If she's having doubts, we should exploit them. Show her the path to the dark side.
She was a Jedi, then a Mandalorian. Now she reaches out to you. I am hesitant to place any trust in someone who cannot seem to determine where her loyalty should go. Even if she were telling the truth, it would not change how much we have at stake. She would be useless to us without Darth Maul's holocron. But I suppose this conversation is irrelevant for now.
Yes, unless the Padawan actually follows through with her plans.
So pretty much that, Patrick, is what I can tell. Always ask yourself what's easier to manipulate.
Where are you? I told you I'm not going to cover for you if you fall behind.
Sorry, Recon. I'll be back soon.
What happened?
Nothing. I was tracking something down for Hedda. But it was a dead end. That's all.
Just hurry up.
So basically that, people. So basically that is what I would say. The idea is that pretty much, always ask yourselves, as the most valuable piece of information I can give you, under which conditions is it easier to control the population? And there you will find the intentions of the ruler. Under which conditions is it easier? Everyone dragged, saying bro every 2 minutes, with a clear, this is another detail, with a clear lack of usage of language to comprehend, or what we had before Obama? What we had before Obama was much more difficult to control. That is the thing. That is the thing. That is the thing. That's why I believe, as Patrick mentions here, that Obama was a Chinese spy. Not a spy, he was paid. He was a front man for them, basically. So, going back to the other one, why the US wages a just war? In this case, because of all that historical context that I mentioned to you. You can see people from all countries migrating to the US. Not the other way around. This is reality. See, that is empirical evidence, people. As I told you, when they retreated, when Biden retreated from Afghanistan, the people at the airport, some clinged to the tire of the plane to escape, which is a certain death. They would choose certain death before staying in those countries. In Cuba, people throw themselves to the Caribbean with the sharks, getting shot by the dictators and everything, to reach Florida. Not the other way around. Ask yourself why this happens, and you'll see that it makes sense what I'm telling you. The United States lives a much better condition, quality of life, after attacking a place, not Russia, not China, and not those, because they don't have the Western European inherited culture derived from religion. Pretty much. I asked this question, but I'm interested in your opinion again. What do you predict for the future in geopolitics, etc.? And then comes Big P Pillow. Trump might be invading Iran. This is kind of homeless. Not gonna lie, Biden could know. Obama wouldn't even. Pillow. I said at the beginning, in the first stream in which you were in the year, I said that he would attack Iran precisely. Millet, no, he's not a Jew. Millet is not a Jew. Pillow, he's not a Jew. Millet is not a Jew. He's trying to become a Jew, but he's not. He's trying to become, but he's not. He's not. What do I predict for the future in geopolitics? I already predicted correctly that he would attack Venezuela, and it happened last year. Here, Pillow is another witness of it. That I was right. I did a pretty good prediction, because here in the Americas we were already talking about it. He's going to attack Iran. He's going to probably also attack Cuba, and we are going to go back to the glory of the 90s, in which people weren't stupid, things were clear, and relativism couldn't take hold of the population. Always ask yourself this, people, as I mentioned. Always ask yourself this. Under which conditions is it easier to manipulate and control the population? Those of the 90s, early 2000s, previous to Obama, or after Obama? The conditions to easily manipulate the population are much more favorable after Obama. Everyone dragged, everyone stupid, no meritocracy, diversity replaces meritocracy, one economic income income per house with the dream of man, woman, and 2 children destroyed, destroying the core unit of destroying the family as the core unit of society. Ask yourself always, constantly, under which conditions does the ruler have it easier to manipulate and control the population? And there you will find the intentions of the ruler to judge him if he's good or evil. Pretty much. As for the future in geopolitics, what I predict, Patrick, regardless of what you have heard in Europe, sorry, Pilu, now I just go in order. I am fair like that. What do you predict for the future in geopolitics? Regardless of what you hear in Europe, regardless of what you hear in News outlets say, the reality, I can tell you, as the backyard of the United States, that if the United States wanted, it could invade all of our countries simultaneously, beat all of our armies simultaneously all over the world, Russian one included, Chinese one included, I don't know, Brazilian one included, I don't know, the biggest ones that you can imagine, like this. It could literally decimate all of the countries all together simultaneously. That is the objective reality. Why? Because it has nuclear submarines, which the rest of the countries don't have, and it has 11 air carriers. Okay, so because of this, is that the Soviet Union in the 80s, in the 70s, had to do a Cold War. It is the reason why China now has to do a Cold War, because they cannot attack the United States in open conflict. It's the reason why they put Obama as a Chinese puppet. It's the reason why they created the wokes and all of this, because they know perfectly that the very second the United States Senate votes an attack like this, it's absolutely over. They know it. They perfectly know it. And they know that if they wanted, they could decimate all of the country. This is reality, not what Ursula von der Leyen says, not what our pitiful, because me as Italian also feel ashamed of it, our pitiful European Parliament is voting. And I will tell you one more thing. In a scenario of Cold War, you cannot remain neutral. In South America, we did that during the Cold War, and we ended up being third world countries for 30 years afterwards. Europe is doing that. It's doing the same mistake. It's making the same mistake we did in the previous Cold War with the Soviet Union. You cannot remain neutral when there's a global Cold War. You are either with the United States, and not being there implies you are with China. So if I were in Europe, I would be worried. I would be worried about those things. I would be worried. So what I predict that the United States is going to crush them as long as the voting keeps going Republican. It will be Marco Rubio or JD Vance, Patrick, it doesn't matter. Iran and Cuba are finished. I think Greenland will be a part of the US. And Canada will have to adjust a bit their brain. They won't be conquered like Greenland, but they will have to adjust their brain a bit. And everything will go back to normal like it was with Bush in the 90s. Trump might be invading Iran. Pillow, if that happens, it's the second one that I got right. This is kinda homeless, not gonna lie. Biden could never. Obama wouldn't even imagine. Malaysia, and also an elevator. No, he's trying to become a Jew, Pillow. He's an honorary one. Then, yeah, pretty much you could say he's an honorary one, but not yet. Not yet. He hasn't gone through the correct rites. He will do so after the presidency, he said. Relativism is supreme. Well, that one is it's just it's just a fallacy that has been debunked by objective metaphysical reality several times. Pretty much, it's low quality rage bait, so I will just reply with the fact that you couldn't beat the harvester So someone who couldn't beat the harvester pillow cannot say that relativism is supreme. You will never beat it, and you will never beat the harvester pillow. I've already beaten it. I have inner peace in my mind and my life, but you could never beat the harvester. You couldn't beat the harvester. Hey, when I hear it, I saw your president running a chainsaw in the back of a car. Did you? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was during the campaign, of course. Do you know what's the significance of the chainsaw, Patrick? What was the problem here in my country? Are you too interested in hearing the story of the chainsaw? Why we voted for him for that chainsaw precisely? You didn't conquer us Astelum in Europa Universalis 4. I think it is. I don't play turn-based game. Nothing that you describe is worse than the Harvester period. I must sadly tell you, I found the one thing to remind you of that you couldn't kill the Harvester. You couldn't kill the Harvester, people. The glory of the Harvester. I remember the phrase, Pillow. Let us not forget as well that Jeffrey Epstein had Baldur's Gate 3 as his main game in his island. Thank you for the great idea. Jeffrey Epstein had Baldur's Gate 3, the game in which you can fuck a bear, as his main game in his island. None other. None other. We all know that this is perfection to describe it. Baldur's Gate, the preferred game of peace, with the bear getting fucked, of course. Degeneracy at its finest, courtesy of Obama once again, people. Sorry for anyone watching this as a YouTube ball. Sorry. I know you all hate me. I know you all hate me, but well, what are you gonna do? He's enjoying it in heaven. He's enjoying it He's playing Baldur's Gate from above. True, that's a good one. I should have presented right now. Well, the chainsaw, Patrick. What does the chainsaw mean in the context of my country? Pillow, if you'd like, in the meantime, tell me the joke, because you are in a good streak of jokes, honestly. And then we can talk about the Dungeons and Dragons campaign. The chainsaw, Patrick. The chainsaw. What does it mean? Do you know what it means, Patrick? Well, basically, my country for 70 years, due to socialism, after World War II, Perón, that Pillow here knows very well, he basically... That's a long World War II joke, Pillow. Don't worry, I finished with the chainsaw and I read it. So for 70 years, socialism, which was fascist here precisely, Perón, took hold of the state, okay? And he spent more than the total amount of money the taxpayers could give to him per month, constantly, all the time, every single month, constantly, for 70 years. When you do that for 70 years, you create something called hyperinflation. Basically, imagine going to the supermarket and something that was worth $1 in the morning, then in the afternoon is worth not $2, not $3, but imagine $1,000. Yes, by the afternoon, on the same day. That is hyperinflation, and that is caused by spending more than the total amount of money that your taxpayers can give you per month. Multiply that by 70 years of socialism that we had, it caused that. So the state was so corrupt, it had corruption under another layer of corruption, and another. So the state was massive, and we, the population, were like slaves paying taxes. We weren't slaves, but the inflation is the silent tax that would make all of the population poor. So Melee, almost forgot here. Patrick says, Pillow, he's saluting you there, Patrick. Well, so like that 70 years, okay? Melee comes into play. He appears. He was insulted. They treated him like shit. They told him that he was crazy, etc., etc., etc. The chainsaw represents cutting state spending to stop the inflation. Melee reduced inflation from 17,000%, the core inflation. The yearly was 200. We can use the yearly so we have a comparison. It was 200. Yo, says Patrick. Yeah, to you, pillow. It was 200. From 200, he reduced it to 30. From 200 yearly to 30% because the chainsaw was applied to the state. He started firing public employees. Public employees. It was so protectionist, the economy of the Peronist government, that we call this hunting inside of the zoo. It's like this. The state has one or two companies, private companies, that are friends of the ruler, of the president, of Peron, and the successive inheritors. Okay? So when they have to do a public road or a hospital or any public building, it's not a fair competition. They give it to the private company that is his friend. Okay? So they become millionaire, and then the company, the private company that was benefited by the state, would give the money back through campaign funding to the Peronists, the socialists. So it created a vicious cycle, and then the Peronists, the socialists, would create public jobs and inscribe them as growth of the economy in a virtuous cycle. So basically that. The chainsaw of my president, which I voted and everyone voted because he won at 57 against 41 or 39, I don't know. Is a chainsaw applied to the state. Reduce the size of the state. That's why I always tell you, Patrick, look at the size of the state. The size of the state, no matter if it's from the left or the right, the size of the state. The state has to be like this small. No public employees, no nothing, no 15 ministries, no. Small. It needs to be small to be efficient. That is the key and the reason of the change. So he gave one to Elon Musk, he gave another one to Donald Trump. He basically is trying to show the rest of the world this, because this is the key. What my president did is debunk the part of Obama's economic theory of a protectionist state. It's basically that. Now, joke of World War II. Hang on, I will read the joke before doing the cinematic. World War II. Marshal Zhukov comes out of Stalin's office, upset, curses in the hallway and mutters, "That mustached son of a bitch." But an officer of the Okhrana, which I presume it was an elite guard, wasn't standing in front of the door and reacted immediately, asking, "I will watch the boat. I'm too tired. Thank you for the conversation. Have a good night, everyone." Good night, Patrick, and thank you for all of the great questions. Do not hesitate anyways to DM me over at Discord with all of those. And good luck in your final exams, that you had the final exams of high school, pretty much. So good luck with those, just like Ambra and the first year of university, Patrick. So, and thank you always for your company at the beginning of the stream. So, the Okhrana guard was standing in front of the door and reacted immediately, asking, "What did you say, comrade?" Zhukov replied that he said nothing. "Well, he'll go back to Comrade Stalin's office and clarify the matter," said the officer. So they went back, and the officer reports, "Comrade Stalin, while on duty, I heard Marshal Zhukov say, 'That mustached son of a bitch.'" Stalin looked at Zhukov and asked, "What did you mean, comrade?" Zhukov immediately replied, "Who else? The mustache man from Germany, of course, who also had a mustache like Stalin." Mr. Gregors, our friend. Then Stalin looked at the Okrana officer and asked, "A new comrade? Who did you mean?" So they both insulted him. So he actually tried to mean that one. So look at the elite yard and ask a new comrade, "Who did you mean?" Stalin looked at Sukov and asked, "What do you mean?" But could he could cheat him in the end. He got away with it. Sukov got away with it. Pelo in the end. And what did he mean? Okay. I think he got away with it. He didn't mention it in the end.